Hello. Oh, look at the number 222. We love to see it. Hey guys, can everyone hear me? Can everyone see me? I feel like my camera is a little wiggity whack right now, but that's because I have had it in storage for a year, which is so long of time to keep your phone in storage for. Okay, Christella says we can see you and we can hear you. That's wonderful. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again for Astro Chat Live. I am so stoked. I'm so excited. It's been an entire year since I was live. I needed to take a break and then I came back. So I feel like I might be a little rusty, but you guys know that we're just going to vibe. We're going to pull the chart, talk about some transits that we need to discuss, some really important transits that we need to discuss. I have my notes here, and I really encourage you. I don't like this camera right now. I really encourage you guys to take this moment while there's more people trickling in order to grab a pen, which I have always felt like Sharpie should sponsor me because I use their pens all the time. The fine point pens are everything. The ultra fine point pens are everything. And the notepad, like a notepad in order to take notes. For those of you guys that don't know, Astro Chat Live was the time for us to all get together and once a week get together and me pull the charts for the collective to help you to understand what is happening in the cosmos, in the world. It is a collective reading, but astrology is so specific. So I really do want to encourage you guys to have your own personal charts pulled up on the side if you can. That way you can see where these transits are falling in your chart. Okay, so even though this reading is for the collective, and even though when I'm pulling the charts, it is astrologically for the collective, it's going to, the message applies the same and we're all going to feel it. Astrology is not one of those intuitive sciences. It's pretty much like fact. So not to say that intuition isn't fact, but astrology is so predictable. It's so planned. It's so easily timed. It's all about when things are happening, why they're happening, and how they impact us here on Earth. The only way that you will find this immediately helpful is, well, maybe not the only way, but one of the ways that you will find this time that we spend together immediately helpful is if you have your astrological or your natal chart pulled up and that you look at it from the position of your rising sign. So I'll talk about this all in a minute. But I did see, I think her name was Christine. She was asking how the transits kind of fall into your chart, how they all apply, how they all fall together in a way that would be helpful. So I'm just going to explain that really quickly. Before we dive into that, you guys, how are we all feeling? What's the vibe? How are we feeling? This is one of those. Okay, wait. Erica White says, is it okay if you don't know astrology or your rising sign? Yeah, for the most part, because like I said, it would be immediately helpful, but astrology will always show itself. And one thing that I'm very, very good at is my predictions and the timing of certain things. I've always been really good at that. And I'm always very specific and very detailed. I don't talk about only the positive. I don't talk about only the negative. I talk about the balance of both of those things. So if you don't know your rising sign, I guarantee you that what it is that I'm talking about, you'll be able to at least be able to identify and place it within that week where this energy is going to be finding itself. So even if you don't know your rising sign, even if you don't have your exact date of birth or you don't know how to pull an astrology chart, you'll be able to place it based upon what it is that I'm saying. Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Alicia says the vibe is anxious over here today. I feel that has a lot to do with Mars and Uranus conjunct the North Node in Taurus. You guys, the fact that we're even starting Astro Chat Live on such a extreme note is so funny to me, but it goes to show like how important it is that we have each other. And Antoine says, is Mars retro? No, my love. Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron are all retrograde at the time. I think I covered them all just now. At the time of me talking right now. So if anybody's watching this video in the future, then maybe they might be, there might be some changes, but for the most part, that's from the time that it is that I'm filming. Yeah. So, Emmy Ford says, my dogs are barking over you. Oh, tell your puppies I said hello. I have my puppies here. There's one by my side and there's one in her crate so that she doesn't knock the camera, because she will do that. She be doing that. Okay. Williams says, or Lily Williams says, I feel focused and ready to learn. Well, girl, you came to the right place for that, honey, because there's a lot for us to talk about. Okay, so guys, do we all have our cups of water? Do we have our tea? Do we have our notes? Are we ready? Do we have our pens? Are we good? Are we good to go? Okay, Scotty says, I've been very anxious, lacking confidence, not motivated. It's crazy. That's not uncommon right now. And it's funny because I was talking to one of my best friends who I went to. Planet Free Spirit says that they have a gallon jug of water over here. Yo, hydrated and ready. One of my friends was talking to me earlier today. She actually got into a car accident right on time for these transits that are happening right now. And that's actually what I want to talk to you guys about. One of the first things I want to start talking to you guys about is how disruptive how disrupted the cosmic skies are at the time of us having this conversation right now. One of the main things that's standing out to me when I'm looking at the chart is, let me pull up my chart on this side, you guys. I actually had an iPad prepared, like the astrological chart pulled up on my iPad, but for whatever reason, I lost the iPad. So I had it in my hand and I was like, don't lose this. We're going to need this later on for Astro Chat Live. And lo and behold, that thing is gone. Okay, so Uranus, the planet that rules unexpected developments. Yes, B says you spoke about a car crash recently too. I 1000% did. The crazy thing about that is that was my intuitive vision, not me pulling the astrological charts. There was also something that I said in not this week's video, but last week's video, because it's an impending energy that we were walking into about you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. These transits that we're in right now are 100%. You do not want to push, provoke, prod anything right now. There is a heightened energy around younger populations, younger people, younger generation, just losing their cool, like going off, right? So it has a lot to do with immaturity, immature energies that are impulsive, reactive, and creating a potential for violence or the potential for an accident or something dramatic like that to occur. The problem is that when you have Mars, which rules our drive, our ambition, our fire, war, directly conjunct Uranus, the planet that rules unexpected development, things that we don't see coming, things swinging high and then dipping down really low. When both of these planets sit directly on top of each other, it's like you take fire and ice and throw them on a pot in a pan, and what do you have? You're going to have an immediate explosion. Now, where does this end up happening? It's going to be happening in the sign of Taurus. So you want to be really careful, because Taurus naturally rules not only our feeling of, being stable and being secure and feeling comforted, but it rules our belongings and belongings that we invest in. So this isn't so much like cups. This is like our cars, our homes, something that's designer, something that you actually put your money, your time, your energy into investing into. These are things that are, from an astrological perspective, are under attack. partly because there's this juvenile energy that is impulsive, that is reactive, not really thinking about where it is that it's going, or it's very playful, it's very energetic. There's no, it's not bad to have fun. It's not bad to have play, or to be playing, or to be running out to go meet your friends, or to go meet up with your family, or do an event, or anything for that matter. But if it comes to the point where you're rushing to get to that destination, or you're careless or reckless when you are out with friends or in the neighborhood, because that's the other thing too, these energies can be very neighborhood like. Some people think that it could be like with you traveling, and yes, of course, there's the small percentage that can happen. These are things that can happen in the neighborhood when you're really close to your home. So I really want you guys to be aware of that. The other thing with this transit, of course, it can create accidents, right? So, and 9 times out of 10, these accidents are things that we felt because it's Monday now. You would have started to see them through the weekend, and you're going to definitely see them trickling out through the rest of this week. The thing that I want to say about this, you guys, is that there's some things that you can control and there's some things that you can't control, right? So what are you going to do? So you know that there might be a young person behind the wheel of the car, maybe drinking, maybe driving, maybe acting a little crazy, maybe texting or whatever, texting, talking, whatever, on the phone, and that could slam into your car. Guys, give me a heart or leave me a comment and let me know if this resonates. I can see some of your comments coming up before, and you guys are saying like, oh my God, this has happened. But so you really can't control what the rest of the world is doing. Like, we realize that we don't have control over what anybody else is doing. And having said that, what are we going to do? Hide ourselves in our house and close the blinds? No. Put a sheet over the windows? No. The thing about astrological transits is that if you find yourself crossing paths with this fated encounter, with this fated moment, that thing is then going to be replaced, even though it feels like it can be an epic failure or an epic accident, or something can collapse or fall apart in that moment, right? Something strikes you, something takes you off guard, something takes you down. The other thing that I want you guys to be aware of is finances when it comes to spending. Okay. I've been pulling the charts privately for myself, for my clients, for my friends, for an entire year. And you guys know I pull the charts not only for myself, but usually when I'm pulling charts for my clients, it's people who traditionally what it is that I've attracted are people who are people like you and me, of course. Normies is what I call them, or intuitive normies. So people who are highly intuitive or interested in the intuitive studies. But there's also people who are really, really, there's a lot on the line for them. So this could be their celebrity, or they have big businesses and they use or need a confidant, someone to consult in order to help them plan and prepare or prevent certain events from happening that a regular person wouldn't have to deal with, right? And privacy is an utmost with me, always, 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 always. You guys know that. I'm private as hell. So that was something that I always wanted to offer to my clients when I was working with them. The thing that I was feeling the most, and that I had a difficult time with even taking this break, was the fact that we were going to walk into a time where those clients and those people were going to shoot up when it comes to resources, when it comes to things of value that they can then settle in and buy in, from stocks to, but you had to be really careful with that. I was warning them about that, to investments, those types of things, right? Why? Because when Uranus moved into the sign of Taurus, things like money, finances, resources, all those things would swing up and they would swing down, especially when it comes to the stock market, and especially when it comes to real estate, and especially when it comes to terra, land, so earthly type things, right? So this is when we started talking to them about lumber, about investing in the stock market for lumber, when it comes to investing in like natural resources. Those things, I was like, keep an eye on that, because they're going to swing down, and that's when you want to tap into it, because looking at the charts, that's what's going to happen. That's what you're going to start to see. Now during these types of transits that we have got going on now, the planets are so reactive, and now it went from being something that you could capitalize on and you can gain on, whether you are trying to think about, you're trying to plan your next break when it comes to public identity or making a lot of money in those realms, especially if you're an independent artist. Now things are starting with all these retrograde planets. The same things that were once very successful, the same things that are very profitable, are now the same things that you need to be very wary of. And I'm so glad that I'm here talking to you guys about this now, because what was once very profitable and what was once, when the planets were direct, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, when those planets were direct, they were going to help uplift your bank, your finances, your resources, all of those things, because opportunities would just spill out when you're capitalizing on Uranus transiting through Taurus. Now, let me just take a step back, you guys, because I know that I'm talking a mile a minute. You guys know how I get when I'm talking about astrology, but it's not just one transit, you guys. Like, what I've noticed is that in the astrological world, a lot of people on the internet are talking about the one transit that's happening. They're not looking at the entirety of the chart. So even though Uranus is still transiting through the sign of Taurus, there are other transits around that, or other transits that are happening within the astrological chart that are now impacting the energy that Uranus is bringing, or what can happen, or what can be brought out of what Uranus has brought or can continue to bring, and what you can build. Now, having said that, when it comes to building, now that Saturn is retrograde, now that Pluto is retrograde, now that Jupiter is retrograde, these are things where it's like the actual foundation, that the planets that stabilize us in the long term are now, they're all pulling themselves back in. They're pulling themselves kind of like a wave, like a tsunami from the ocean. They're sucking their energy back in, which means that they're not really so much apt to share. They're not so much apt to be generous, especially when it comes to finances. Now, when anytime something pulls in, inevitably it's going to pull back. It's going to come charging back in. We are going to wait. If you want to profit off of this, you are going to wait for Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter specifically to turn direct. When those planets start to turn direct, that's when you start putting the money back into the stock market, or certain things within the stock market. That's when you start putting money back into the real estate market. But for right now, I don't know if you guys noticed this, it was like all of the resources went up and then they shot down. That has Uranus in Taurus written all over it. It has it marked all over it. So I really want you guys to, there's this warning that keeps coming up in my spirit and kind of bringing it around full circle. The conversation that I was having with one of my girlfriends earlier today that I wanted to share with you guys is the fact that right now, financially, and of course, we're talking about the incoming of a potential of, what is it called? A recession. Like, we're kind of talking about the idea of recession. These are things that I really want you guys to take seriously astrologically, because our comfort levels and finances right now are very, you don't need me to tell you as an astrologer. I mean, you can turn on the news right now and see it, but they're very faulty and they're very wobbly. There's times when you can believe the internet. There's times where you can believe the news. And there's times where everything should be questioned. I do believe that at this time, if you do not have a savings that you have built up, this is a time where you're going to want to start saving, because as we're moving forward for the remainder of this year and trickling into next year, it could be financially tough for a lot of people if it isn't already. Okay, so I really just want to keep that 100 with you guys. Let me catch up on some of these comments really quickly. Okay. So someone said, so don't like spend your money that much. It's not that you can't spend your money. The money has to be spent. Okay. You guys still want to be able to tap into, you don't want to go into impoverished energy where you are holding yourself back from paying for things like your essentials. What I want you guys to do is be very, very smart, right, about it. So like me as a Virgo, how I would look at it and how I would approach it is to be very practical in my spending. So this means that I would need to cut back on unnecessary expenses. For example, do you need to have a membership for a photo editing app? Do you need to have a membership for Netflix? Do you need to have, can you cut back on the gas that it is that you're using? Can you start, like, where in your life can you start to conserve? And where can you start to save? So if it's possible for you to add $20 every week or $20 every month into a savings account, can you start to do that now? And I know that sounds so silly and so small, but it's those small things that will really, really save someone. And in a year, that can really kind of curve away some of the more intense feeling of drought, financial drought. The other thing that I want to talk to you guys about is these planets and the way that the universe works. And I used to be, I don't want to say one of the more optimistic people, but I used to be very like faith-filled, I guess, like more faith-filled. Now, as I've grown older, I do have my faith, of course, but I've grown a bit skeptical and wary of things, right? One thing that I haven't ever lost sight of and that I haven't lost faith in is a divine plan that happens when bad things or tough times do show up, right? What I can actually see during this time is with Uranus moving through the sign of Taurus, this is where you are given the chance to really step outside of your normal comfort zones and step outside of unconventional means of gaining your resources. So this can mean that instead of you rooting yourself and stabilizing in what has always been done, for example, like looking for a job, what if you create your job? What if you share your resources? What if you invested in yourself? What if that $20 for your saving was split into $10 for your business and $10 for your savings? What if you could do that? So these are some things that I really want you guys to take into consideration. And the one thing that I really, really love about this, my love, is the fact that the planets do not leave us the one thing that, guys, do your best. If there's like comments and roach type of energy that starts to trickle in, just know that we're probably one of the top trenders right now. Hold on, let's see. Boop. All right. Anytime when I'm trending, anytime when I go live on YouTube, the trolls are going to come out. The way to work with that, you guys, is to allow the roach to distract you, right? So anytime when a person of light comes through and is sharing really valuable bits of wisdom, you do not want to allow that roach to stop you from profiting on the gems that are being dropped right now. We have an hour to work with, you guys. We're about 22 minutes in, and I could talk about this stuff for 3 hours. So what I don't want you guys to do is to get distracted by the trolls that will come in, because they are going to come in. You're going to start to see them come in, and guess what you do? You focus on what it is that I'm saying, because there's too much for you to gain from this conversation than you focusing on what someone's saying about my race, whatever it is that they're going to say. People are going to say whatever, okay? So I say that with a very firm, motherly energy, because I'm really protective of you guys and I want you guys to stay focused. So you can read the comments if you want, get distracted by the comments if you want. But if I were you, I would use this time very wisely, and I would stay very focused on what it is that I'm telling you, because fuck what they're going to say, because they're going to say shit regardless. Okay. I say that with love. All right. So moving on. One of the things that I can tell you guys about these transits is the fact that there's no such thing as all good or all bad. It's what you're able to make of it. So if we take, and I say this all the time in the Sacred Circle Tarot School when we were going live, I did need to take a break because life, but I always used to say this in the Sacred Circle Tarot School, is you take a look into the chart and then you take a step back and you look at the entirety of the chart. One of the things that is really standing out to me is the fact that Mars and Uranus, who are currently conjunct each other in the sign of Taurus, are also trine the part of fortune in the sign of Capricorn. What is this? Thank you, Zaida. I really appreciate you, my love. What does this mean for the collective? This means that your best luck is going to, and your best fortune is going to come from you creating your own stability. This is the time, you guys, regardless of what your sun, moon, rising sign is, regardless of any of that, you're going to want to capitalize on creating a foundation that is stable for you on your terms, what works for you. And unfortunately, what has to come from this is you have to show up consistent. You have to be stubborn as fuck. You have to be so stubborn. Pardon my French. This is the North Node falling in the sign of Taurus says, I dare you to try and push me and stop me from delivering my message tonight. I dare you to stop me from building my business and building my brand and investing my money into this business, into this cake shop, into whatever that I have had this dream in my heart and in my third eye vision since the moment that I stepped onto this earth. Okay. Taurus energy is stubborn as hell. And it's a fixed sign. It's not going nowhere. Okay. It's not going anywhere. So what part in your life can you use to capitalize and fight for the space that you belong? This is beyond the higher purpose, you guys. Now we are tapping into, I don't want to say survival. I always say to you guys, if you see me running, then you run. We're not at that point where we can run, but we are at that point in history where we need to fight. What are we fighting for? We're fighting for our ability to survive. We're also fighting for our ability to thrive. And every single person in this astrology Astro Chat Live right now has something to contribute, has something to gain, has something to work for. And the thing is that I don't want you guys to do is to shy away from that heartache, that hard work. I don't know why I said heartache. So some of you guys might be in that space right now. Teddy Bear says stubborn bulls. Exactly. Taurus energy is known for being stubborn. Taurus energy is known for, if you flap that red flag, it will charge directly at it. What does that red flag represent for you in your life right now? And with Capricorn, there needs to be strong boundaries. With Capricorn energy, the part of fortune sitting in the sign of Capricorn, this means that, okay, there isn't a restriction here, but I'm going to figure out who my enemy is, and I'm going to outsmart the enemy. If you are currently watching the crumbling of our society right now, if you're currently watching the crumbling of politics, if you're currently watching the crumbling of big business, if you're currently watching the crumbling of marriage, because that's something that you want for yourself, realize that anytime when something starts to crumble, it is your opportunity to rise up and make that now your place. This is your place where you belong. There are some people who will watch something falling down and they'll start panicking. They'll start running for the hills. The reality is that within every single one of you guys, something is going to be ignited in you. There's going to be the energy of something that is ignited with you that says, everyone else is running that way, but I'm going to run towards it. This is my moment. This is my time to shine. Lucida says the tower. Exactly. It can be very unexpected, but the thing is that, okay, wait, Doris says, oh, Jessica, at times I don't feel strong. I need to hear this. And that's the other thing too, guys. That's the other thing too, because these transits are not easy peasy lemon squeezy. They can be very make or break. They're not. Who the hell is texting me? And why isn't my phone on D&D? Oh, I remember him. I'm putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'm sorry. Yeah, so these transits are not polite. They don't stop to wipe tears. They don't stop to comfort you. They don't stop to nurture you, to support you. You're going to go on like your normal places that you would fall back into in order to comfort yourself. And for whatever reason, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to feel like it's enough. And the reason why is because everything in a lot of ways is cracking down. And I don't say all of this to grab you up by your bootstraps and be like, well, pick yourself up, girlfriend. Like, you're not allowed to have a moment, a month, or 3 years of mourning or suffering. Not only is that not realistic, it's not fair. It's not these transits I've been saying quietly because I've been on a break, and I'll come on every once in a while on Instagram. I've been posting more on my personal account than I have been, I feel like, on Bahati Life. But these transits are really making history. Even scientists that when they're talking about humanity, they're just like, what is it? in it for us in the future. Not only is it globally when it comes to our planet and how we take care of the earth, but it's also how we're taking care of ourselves and how we're taking care of each other. There's this huge question right now in this generation as far as what's going to happen for the next generations to come, because there are so many people who relationships, okay, so it's not even your health so much, it's not just politics or businesses, it's also relationships, how people connect with each other. There's this intimate sharing, but there's no intimate connection, and it's actually calling scientists to think about the future of humanity, because people aren't reproducing in the way that they once were, because the connections and the desire to start the family is not there in the way that it was. And the reason why I'm saying this, you guys, is because we're in the middle of history happening, and we're not entirely sure. For those of you guys who don't look at astrology, you're not entirely sure how this is going to happen, how this is going to unfold. But if you look at the astrology charts, you can see that the core foundation of our society and the things that were so important and of value to us since the dawning of time are now being broken down 1000%. Someone mentioned the metaverse. Exactly. That's another example of this coming through. The thing is with astrology and how the planets work is that these planets are moving above our heads and we're here on Earth. Those are energies that are trickling down to us here on the planet. They don't just say, oh, I can only fit in this one box, so I'm just only going to fit in this for big business. No, it's also going to find its way into our health, how we take care of ourselves, our lifestyle and how we show up for ourselves, our relationships, how we show up for each other, et cetera, et cetera. So what do I want to say to you guys when it comes to this is I want to give you confirmation and validation that what you're feeling is A, very real, but B, it can be very, very fucking heavy, and C, there is no shortcut. There is no quick outcome. There's no quick, okay, if I do this, then all of this is going to get better. What you do in all of this is you maintain a sense of normalcy within yourself as far as what it is clearly that is that you can control. You don't overly be too aggressive with the self-help, the self-healing, and even sometimes with spiritual routines and stuff like that, because there needs to be some level of balance. That was also something that I am working on every day to this day, is maintaining a balance as an empath, as an intuitive, as an astrologer, as a spiritualist, as someone who practices hoodoo and shares my magic with the world, while also balancing that with my everyday life and just the highs, the ups and the downs of things that go on. And I can logically understand what's going on in the astrological charts, but still be frustrated, disappointed, or defeated by it, right? So what can I tell you guys as far as advice in order to get through these transits? Realize that it's temporary. It's not going to last. We are going to come out of this, and we're going to come out strong, and we're going to come out of this together. But also give yourself a whole lot of grace and compassion and kindness. Realize that these planets and these transits are going to teach us what is truly valuable in this world. And you are going to inevitably find those things that are most important to you, because the things that we thought were important to us are no longer of service to us. They're not even showing up in the way that, even if they did show up, you would then say to yourself, do I really want this? The level of tolerance that humanity has for things that are insignificant is very, 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 very tiny. They may entertain it and may continue to look for things in different places, but ultimately they're not gonna find satisfaction. So the fact that there's so many people trying on different things it's like kind of like the quote where they say soulmates have the same hiding spot. They always find each other because they have the same hiding spot. Same thing with you and whatever it is that you want, need, and desire at this moment in your life, whatever it is that's missing. Wayne Peak says Taurus equals values. Exactly. This is the second house. Taurus naturally rules the second house of values, right? So those things are erupting right now with Uranus transiting through this chart. All right, yo, I said a lot in 30 minutes. I just went off, but I've been holding it in for a whole year and really just trying to prioritize my own personal balance when all of these transits were going on. because I knew that if I came rushing back to the internet, I would not be able to show up for the internet forever. So I wanted to make sure that I would be here for you guys. The other thing that I want to talk to you guys about is something that I talked about before, and it's Chiron retrograde. I love Chiron, I really do, but oh my God. Oh my God. It's so annoying when you it's so annoying when you do the work, when you do the healing, when you're progressing, when you're doing better, when you understand yourself and your wounded healing child, like your wounded child, right? Antoine says the wounded healer. Exactly. We'll talk about love. Dusan says, what about love? Oh, we gonna talk about love. Love always comes up. If anything, love always comes up. So we will talk about it, I promise. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Chiron retrograde right now. So it is so tumultuous, you guys. You can talk about, I don't want to say be the bigger person, but you can go through the healing, understand why you do what you do and what triggers the wounded child, like what triggers your inner child or what triggers you as a human being. We all have it. We all have an Achilles tendon. I know mine. You can know that this is what's going to set you off and then be triggered by it and still be completely derailed. Now, with Chiron retrograde, and Chiron rules the wounded healer, it's that one thing that, regardless of how high you may go in this life, it's that one thing that will always connect you to humanity and say, your heart will always bleed in this area, because it really makes you more of a human and makes you connected to the collective as far as what and how you can contribute to others during this time. Now, Chiron retrograde in the sign of Aries is really testing your sense of I. Who am I? Who am I? And every progress that you have made within the last 2 to 3 years is going to start being severely challenged if you haven't felt. Do you guys feel this? Have you guys been feeling this transit, or are you completely oblivious? And for those of you guys that are completely oblivious, who are you hurting? Like, honestly, for those people who are not hurt, who are you hurting? And then being like, yeah, not my problem. There is a certain level of responsibility that I feel like these people who are wounded are refusing to look at and refusing to, yeah. Everyone's like, absolutely, yes, I'm fucking feeling this. Yes, someone says I'm so hurt. Can you guys see the fact this comment section right now is lit, honey? It is on fire of people saying, I am hurting, I am hurting, I am hurting, I am hurt. I have been tested, I'm tested. Royalty Earnings says, I'm good. I'm wondering who you might have hurt within the last year. Is there someone who you have hurt? Are you aware? Because sometimes it's Chiron retrograde moving through the sign of Aries, they're completely unaware, and that whoever they might have hurt is just beyond. It could be so deep. Dana says, yo, I'm butthurt. I feel that, girl. I feel that. Sometimes people, when they're hurting, they find different ways to escape. That's another thing that we need to talk about with Neptune retrograde right now. Yeah, someone says, I'm healing, and I love that for you. I love that so much. Ooh, Liz LaFonta's in here. Hi, my love. So good to see you again. What a sweetheart. She has such good energy. I'm sending you all the good blessings. Okay, let's see if we can. Yeah, someone said they manifested it, though. That's so funny. Yeah, so there's this collective space of knowing what you have to do, knowing what needs to be done for yourself, knowing to some extent, or maybe you might be really young, so you haven't gone through that self psychoanalysis, you know what I mean? Or that analysis of the self, of the emotional self, or like how you contribute. Someone said crypto got me hurt. It goes deeper than that, but I feel you. So maybe that's why some of you guys might not be feeling it. But yeah, with Chiron retrograde and sign of Aries, it really starts to question. It can really even make you feel like limp or weak when it comes to standing on your own 2 feet, doing things on your own. There's this need to have more support or be an advocate for yourself, finding your voice, or no longer speaking to something, or no longer speaking out for something. So these are things that it's like, to each their own. Everybody's path is going to be a little different, but this is something that we're all going to be dealing with. Chiron retrograde currently right now, squaring off with Venus, the planet that rules like luxury and love and things that we like, things that we're drawn to. Moving to the sign of Cancer is very like tucking yourself in a comfortable spot, having a spot that you go to, having actual physical, tangible things that you can take into your space that comfort you, that make you feel better, things that you can count on, things that are constant, things that you can feel. The emphasis on the word safe. Where do you feel the most safe? So for me personally, I grew up and down the East Coast of the US for the most part. We moved every year since I was a child, a really tiny child. And one thing that my mom always instilled in me whenever we would move to a new location was she'd be like, the first thing you need to set up is your bed. And she was like, before you put any type of furniture or anything in there, make sure that the bed is set up, that you have your blankets, you have your pillow, and all those things were constant to me. So still to this day, it's always a constant. No matter what's going on in the outside world, I'll always come back to my bed, or my bed was always the first thing that I've made. If my bed is chaotic, I'm 1000% chaotic because my own sacred space is being kind of like ruffled with. Yeah, someone said golden drip. I need the shower to feel better. Exactly. Like we all have our things, right? So with Chiron retrograde squaring off with Venus, this transit won't last very long. Like it'll be like probably like another week or so. But still find different ways to track Venus, find different ways to capitalize on what Venus is doing in order to continue to comfort yourself, right? Also while tracking the moon, because that will show you how irritable you're going to be that day. Track your own, I don't say cycles, your ebbs and your flows, as far as when the moon is transiting through the sign of Virgo, are you productive or are you irritable? Okay, so yeah, Moon Goddess 77 said that's good. Yeah, it's little tidbits, right? What else did I want to talk to you guys about? Oh, we want to talk about relationships? All right, let's do it. For the most part, Dinah said, thank you so much for the super chat, my love. I forgot that you can do that. She said, which of these things on my birth chart is my rising sign? Jess. So I can't pull your personal chart right now because that would literally take forever. And that would be an astrological chart. Okay. Neptune retrograde. This is the thing that we need to talk about, especially when it comes to relationships. Neptune retrograde is, how do I say this? It brings up the fallacy. It brings up the delusion. It brings up the illusion. It brings up what isn't always real. It can be deceptive. It can masquerade as something that is pure or higher intention or spiritually aligned or prophetic or intuitive or have depth. But the reality is that it can be manipulative. It could be wait for you to be disarmed, and it could be you in. And these are transits, you guys, that I've been saying jump, that with Neptune, this was years ago, when Neptune moved into the sign of Pisces, this is going to be an amazing time for spiritual people, and the spiritual community is then also going to be under attack. Then as the rest of the transits kind of align themselves, you would start to see this in different places and different positions. With Neptune retrograde right now, and even Neptune direct, because it's going to, anytime when it's moving through Pisces, you're going to need to tap into your discernment quicker than ever. There's going to be the desire for you to spiritually advance yourself, spiritually expand your studies, connect in deeper ways. You're going to want to explore. You're going to want to find out. You're going to want to discover what is the truth. Where is God? What is God? Is there a God? Is there no God or a goddess or whatever? Are there angels? Am I hearing angels? Am I schizophrenic? Am I having a psychological breakdown? Am I mentally unstable? These are all energies that are ruled by Neptune. Neptune and Pisces. And when Neptune moves through the sign of Pisces, it's slow. It's slow. So you could even be in a relationship or be believing something for so long and never be able to see it for what it really is, because there's a cloud, there's a fog that you are looking through like a lens, and you can't see it for what it is until the transit has moved, or until something or someone shocks you. And even then you might not even be able to believe it. So what do you do during these transits? You have to come back to your source. At the end of the day, there are a million, especially when it comes to those of us who are spiritual practitioners or working with tarot or studying any spiritual topic here or looking for your soulmate. At the end of the day, what does spirit speak to you? What is the resounding answer, the truth that is found within you? There is no shortcut to you being able to strengthen your intuition other than you expressing it, than you using it, than you stretching that muscle and working that muscle. All right. So let's say you guys, for example, like you see like repeating numbers, right? And then you look to see, because 444, 777, or 999 keeps showing up. So many people are so quick to run to the internet in order to gain information. Anybody can post anything on the internet. And who's to say that what they're posting is real or accurate? Who's to say that what I'm saying is real or accurate? If it resonates with truth, and you will know it when you feel it. You'll start to know, because over time, the same things that you're going in order to spiritually confirm something that is happening within your experience do not show up consistently accurate for you. This is not just astrological or like numbers or spiritual signs or spiritual anything. It's what you are spiritually allowing yourself to receive and be open to. And we'll talk about that with the Lionsgate Portal thing, because that's another thing that I want to talk to you guys about. You have to be so heightened and aware, because right now we're in a time in history where we're so psychically and intuitively sensitive of who and what we're allowing information like to come into us and what you're allowing it to believe. My concern is that the same people who are spiritually gifted or spiritually intuitive are actually talking to or hearing messages from the divine, or hearing messages from God, or hearing messages from their ancestors and their guides, or seeing certain signs. Instead of checking in with that source, they immediately go to another human being to confirm or to tell them what that means for them without doing the work themselves. And the truth is that you are going to set yourself up to be deceived by someone who doesn't even realize that they're actively deceiving the masses. That is the truth. So even things on YouTube, even things on Google, it's you have to understand that those sources aren't always the most accurate. Those sources are saying to you certain things in order so that they can monetize off of it, so they can profit off of it, not because they're concerned with your best interests. If you guys are trying to connect, especially with twin flames, especially with pick a card type of situations, by all means, I love it when those resources are available, but you have to use discernment when you're allowing yourself to hear the same messages or go like seeking for those information, like seeking for that information, and then believing that this person is good or right or good, or that they're coming, or that they're thinking about you. They might not even be thinking about you, but because you want to believe it, you're allowing yourself to be actively deceived. And if you actually disconnected from all of that, what would happen to your faith? What would happen to your own intuitive muscle? What would happen to your relationship if you unplugged from those noises, from those messages from outside people, and plugged into yourself? Would you still have the same outcome? Would your steps still be empowered? Or would you find yourself waiting for something to change based upon what someone else told you was going to happen? Or 555 means change happens, so you sit back and you wait for it to happen. But the reality is you never talked, okay, where's this change coming from? Am I a bias? Am I a participant in this? Or is this something that is happening to me? Those are things that you need to bring to your guides. And guys, I'm a YouTuber. I'm literally on YouTube. I'm an intuitive. So wouldn't it make sense for me to come on here? There's 1,400 people in here tuning in right now. Wouldn't it make sense for me to profit off of this and shuffle cards and be like, oh yeah, your twin flame is on the move, or this means this for you? No. Because the truth is that you're going to find those answers. I can't speak for God. I can't speak for your ancestors. I can't speak for your guides. I can tell you what's going on in the charts. I can tell you what intuitive visions I'm pulling. But at the end of the day, it's going to be up to you to be able to sit with it and ask yourself, is this the truth for me in my situation? And if you unplugged from me, or if you unplugged from all of these external things that you keep tapping into, would your faith in that situation, would it still be as strong? Or do you need to keep sucking from it and profiting from it and consuming in order for you to feel good about yourself, about your magic, about what's happening? And if that's not the case, you need to disconnect and you need to actually realign. Everything on the internet will tell you that you're in alignment, and the only thing that you're actually in alignment with is them making money and then profiting off of you, like you are sheep or cattle being led to slaughter. That is the truth. That is the actual truth. And what I love is the fact that every single person on here, my loves, every single person on here has the opportunity to come on here on YouTube and make money. Every single person on here has the opportunity and the ability to share their gifts and their talents. And I actively encourage you to do that. 1,000%. I'm the big, huge proponent of people having their gifts and having life spoken into their gifts so that they can be profitable, so that they can advance, so that they can level up. What I don't like is I don't like people being deceived, and I don't like it's like at the end of the day, you'll only be able to go so far because it will only take you so far, because spirit will only lead you so far. So if you take this time, this amazing time, and it literally, sun is transiting through the sign of Leo right now. Sun is trine Jupiter right now. These are the transits that say, if you build it, they will come. If I shine my light, I will be found. But my thing is that, do you have resources around you that are speaking life into you, or are they feeding you things that keep you coming back in drones, in numbers? Keep tapping it like you're on like drugs. Because the truth is that they're feeding in addiction. They need you to be addicted. They don't even realize that they're doing it, because the platform themselves, the apps that you're using, the internet, the powers that be are training humankind to be okay with these types of things. I'm really happy to be back with you guys. It's been a minute. You guys know I go off on a tangent, honey. I be going off. Jaden said, isn't Franklin a Leo? Happy birthday to him. Girl, Franklin and Nova are Leos. I'm a Virgo stuck in a house full of Leos. And by stuck in a house full of Leos, I mean both of my dogs. I've got a boy and a girl. Franklin, boy. Let's see if he'll come. That's the other thing too that I want to talk to you guys about. One last thing. And then I'll leave you guys some advice, and then I'm going to pull an oracle card for you and invite you into next week's Astro Chat Live, which is going to be lit, honey. It's going to be lit. And so he's like, oh, look, I'm wearing leopard print. And it's Leo season. No coincidence there. I just threw this on. Lionsgate Portal. So technically the height of it would have been on the new moon in Leo, which happened about 3 days ago, I believe. But the collective consciousness is going to all run on the same date. And guys, make it make sense, right? Just make it make sense. Guys, think about it from a logical perspective. Like, let's take all of our spirituality and let's just throw it out the window for a second. Think about it on a logical perspective. The calendar was created by humans And we have recognized and acknowledged that we did not get the calendar correct. Let's just start with that. Right? So we know that we didn't get the calendar correct, but we are then going to, all of us are going to stop. And and throughout history, I believe 1,000% that this portal. So basically, what the Lionsgate Portal is the sun sitting directly conjunct Sirius, the bright star of the Canis Major constellation. And basically, what this is meant to do is it's supposed to synchronize both of those heavy duty lights, right? So that we can then tap into the energies of Sirius and also the energies of Leo. And those two elements, those two bodies, have a way of bringing in bravado, bravery, courage, attention. And what we end up doing, right? And that's very real, but it's not always going to be on 808, right? The calendar was created, and you can break down the number into whatever it is that you want, but who created that calendar? So human beings, we're going to look at this and be like, oh, 808 is going to be significant, when it's like, says who? If you look at the astrological charts, it kind of wavers, it kind of wobbles. My thing with this is, like, I want you guys to, some of you guys will set the intention to be like, this is the only day. You will literally bypass your intuitive sense telling you tonight is the night that I manifest. Let's say this conversation right now is giving you life. I have a tendency to give a lot of life to people and energy to people. I just light them up. Like, I light them up. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. I really appreciate it. So, and $2 too, I appreciate it so much. So, because it's abundance, and I'm about to talk about abundance. So let's say you walk away from this conversation. Oh my God. Wait. Karen says, thank you so much for the super chat, my love. Been a subscriber for a few years. So happy Astro Chat is back. You have helped me so much with your oils, candles, and St. Michael prayer. Thank you for sharing your gifts with the world. If you can't tell by the motion, I'm where'd it go? Sun and rising Cancer. First of all, I'm Cancer rising too. And I love Cancer people. Thank you so much for the super chat, Karen. And that's number one. And that's really no coincidence, because before I went live, I was talking to St. Michael. And tomorrow is the St. Michael prayer. St. Michael prayer. Thank you so much, Vibrant Hues, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. $1.99. I really do appreciate that. You guys are absolutely amazing. So yeah, let's say you get off this live and you guys are completely empowered by my conversation. You can take this and take the collective, the energies that we just had together from the collective, and go and manifest. Don't wait until 808, because what blog said, okay, this energy means the sign of infinity, so we're going to tap into abundance. The fact that you waited for someone to tell you that this is the time for you to start to manifest and for you to tap into this portal, the portal has been open. Like, that energy has already been open. My concern too with this, hold on guys, let me just take care of this really quickly. We must be doing really well for these chats to come on here. Thank you so much for the super chat, Jen. I really appreciate that. Jen V, I really appreciate the love. 999. Look at that too. But the fact that you would wait until the super chat, Juana Perkins, thank you so much for 222. I'm going to just finish what I'm saying. I really appreciate super chats, and I'll catch up on them later. But don't wait for the Lionsgate portal to open up, or when collective decides that it's open, because of a series of numbers in order for it to happen. Look at the astrology charts and look at what's happening within the stars in order for you to gain true accuracy into when something is opening up and when something is happening. And on top of that, your natal chart, your astrological charts. Guys, there's a hair on my face. Can you see it? Got it. I'm literally using you guys as a mirror. Oh, hey, Liz. LaFontaine. That's how you say your last name. 1111. Hey, baby. I appreciate you guys so much. Wow, Judy A 499. I appreciate you guys so much. So don't wait for the Lionsgate portal in order to access this point, right? The other thing is you have to think about this. You, me, and the girls over there in the corner, or the guys over there in the corner, we have good intention. We realize that your vibe attracts your tribe, but sometimes your light attracts the dark. So think about that, you guys. Your heart, Leo rules the heart. Your heart is the center of life, literally in your entire body. Our solar system is ruled by Leo. Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun is the center of the universe. It's where everything revolves around it. The heart needs to, and has always been said, it needs to be protected. Guard the heart. This means that you don't hide your heart away. It means that there's a reason why the heart itself is a portal for valuable information and giving and receiving electricity so that you're able to connect to the divine. It's like a portal there itself. And spirit, it's most of the sacred texts are saying guard the heart, not to keep it away, but to make sure that not everything can come in. So you're going to tell me, and I just feel very questionable about this. Like, so collectively, we're all going to gather together and we're all going to set intention for abundance, for prosperity. But the thing is that those same energies that represent the brightest of lights also burn and create death. And symbolically and spiritually, the internet is only talking about the quote unquote good of it, what can be gained from it. And 8 is the number of infinity. It also connects to the energy of death and rebirth, right? But you guys have to be very cautious and very aware that as you are stepping out into the world in order to connect with and align with collective global energies, everybody is going to be doing the same thing. Everybody is connecting to the same source at the same time, but not everybody has the same fucking intention. Go ahead and do it, but did you protect yourself? Did you arm yourself up enough before you opened up your heart center, the very same thing that needs to be protected, to what is going on with what everybody else has got going on? Did you protect yourself with that? And we wonder why in our society things feel so evil. And I'm not a person who believes in conspiracies. I look into it with a curious mind and with an I get entertained by it. I am a studier of esoteric symbolism. If you guys look at my bookshelf, you're going to find a lot of books on esoteric symbolism all throughout my house. Books, symbols, all of those things that resonate with me and make sense and vibe with me, and things that don't, and that I'm curious about, and I keep them around me forever. So we have to be very cautious and aware that those symbols and those energies, that they hold life. They hold mystery and magnetism and things that can be enchanted and things that can be opened and doors that can be opened. You can do all the information on the internet for as long as you can. And I guarantee you, the majority of us wouldn't have even scratched through the surface. I'm 35 years old. I spent almost the majority of my life studying astrology and esoteric symbolism and the tarot. And I will, for the rest of my life, continue to learn, and I will die still not knowing everything. So what I'm saying is that I don't need to know everything to know that at the end of the day, I'm going to need to protect myself, protect my energy, because when I sit with it, it doesn't feel right all the time. If I sit with my intuition, Kristen Dreamy says, Jess, you're 35. What? Well, 34, but I'm about to be 35. Did I say 35? I'm 34. September 22nd is my birthday. I was born on the autumn equinox, which makes so much sense for me. The balance between dark and light. And guys, I'm not afraid of the shadow. I'm not afraid of the shadow. I'm not afraid of dark. And I'm not afraid of the light either. I have a very healthy balance and respect for both of them, as I think we all should. And some things I feel need to remain sacred, and some things need to be untouched, and some things need to be left alone. And I feel like when you go onto the internet, this source for all of this information just being passed along like an STD, like honestly, it kind of gives me that kind of vibe sometimes, where it's just like, Is this something that you really should be taking in? Is this something that you should be opening yourself up to? If you feel called and pulled to join in on things where the collective group is all gathering to do it, by all means do it. But protect yourself, protect your heart, guard your heart, for it is so valuable. It's worth more than gems, rubies, whatever. It's worth more than a million billion dollars. Your heart is everything. It's your connection to the divine. It's your connection to the higher source. It's the center of your universe. It's the center of our universe. And if it's that valuable, if it is that valuable, why would so many, if it wasn't that valuable, why would so many people be trying to be taught to teach you to open up and allow it in at this moment, especially in history? It makes you start to wonder and question, where is the source of this? Who or what is behind this? And the thing is that I don't believe 100% in evil energies, but I do believe in the shadow when it's off balance. And I feel like it's not necessarily one thing in particular. It's just like how the planets work above us, where the energy that's happening up there, or the shadow that's happening, will trickle down into the different spaces that are open to it and available. And from there, it makes the battle, and it makes healing, and it makes light, and it makes love, and it makes the ability to thrive, and it makes the ability for you to be prosperous and abundant more harder for you to gain, harder for it to come by. Why would they want that? Because sometimes it's not the money, sometimes it's not the gold, it's your spirit, it's your soul. So I really just want to bring that to you guys' attention. Be really careful. Again, Mars square Saturn is retrograde is going to be happening on August 7th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. August 7th is this Sunday, you guys, so just be aware of that. This can create even more accidents, and weird shit can really happen. Fights. Don't provoke a fight. If you start seeing, like, people kind of like tough and like having like a tough argument on the side of the road, just take the road of the opposite road. I literally had that feeling like 2 weeks ago. My friends and I were all out this one weekend, just vibing, just doing what we do. And they were like, there was this like tough, I had this like, is that the right word? Like tough, like this argument, like a fight. And I told my friends, I was like, guys, let's get the fuck out of here. Like right now, please. My vibe, it's like, it went from like, oh, we're having fun to, okay, And I actually don't mind watching a fight like every once in a while. I really don't mind. I get that from my grandma. I love this heart and the scales and the feathers. I love that, giving me my energy. But I had this feeling in my spirit. I was like, guys, let's go. My one friend was kind of like fighting me on it because she was just like, let's keep walking down the street. I was like, no, girl, we need to like go down this street and go down this street. And thankfully for us, they did follow me. If they kept going, I would have walked on my own. But we found out that shortly after we turned that corner, shots were fired, and it was trending. All of the police scanners were going off because there was, shots that were fired like right on the same street that we were on, and who would have known what would have happened. So the moral of the story is, you guys, listen to your feeling, listen to your intuition. You're here for a reason. Really take care of yourself. Do your best to be very thoughtful and consideration, especially when it comes to communication with other people. I know, baby. Can you hear her? She has to go pee-pee. That's Nova. She's like ready to go. She's been in the crate for an hour, which is long for her. But yeah, you guys, please look out for yourself. This video, of course, is going to stay up on the YouTube channel. I'm not going to take it down. We will be going live next week. One thing that I learned from the last Astro Chat lives and even Sacred Circle Tarot School is that I'm not going to go live every single week. I'm going to go live the predominant, like most weeks, because I have the energy to do it, but I'm not going to force myself to show up every Monday if I'm not feeling it. I did learn a lot from that. It feels so great sometimes, and sometimes it can quickly turn around. Like, let's say if I'm emotionally exhausted from whatever, And sometimes like just coming and hanging out with you guys gives me everything. But I realize that it's not emotionally or spiritually responsible for me to continue to do that, even though I feel, Tasha says, good for you. Girl, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I will be showing up as often as it feels good, but I don't want to make a promise and be like, every Monday we're going to be here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be here a lot because I'm a Virgo. I'm a consistent creature. So I like to show up, and this gives me so much life. And I genuinely love to be able to connect with you guys. I don't feel like I can do that on Instagram at all. Not at least in an authentic way. So you can expect to see me here most Mondays, and I will share. If you want to follow me on Instagram or TikTok, if you're not already, because I share a lot of my schedule on there. But also feel free to sign up for the newsletter that's on Bahati Life. So that's B as in boy, E-H-A, T as in tiger, I-L as in love, I-F as in Franklin, and E as in egg.com. I'm glad I spelled that correctly. It's my branding. It's my name, but I still be messing it up. Oh, Shayla says, blessings upon blessings to you all, soul fam. Yes, my loves. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with me. Again. Yeah. And I will definitely see you guys next week. Oh, yeah. Like I said, this video will be up. Oh, look at that. 1:11 on the clock. That's the other thing. Some of you guys be clicking videos just because it says 1:11, but people are setting it up so that it says 1:11. And that's what's making you be like, oh, or people will call you. They will know that you will answer at 2:22. And it's like, you have to be aware of being deceived. Now, it says 1:11 on the clock, and I'm going to end it just because I'm ending. Not because I want it to be 1:11. Just so you know, trying to keep it authentic and 100% real at all times. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.